Today, the House of Representatives read aloud the U.S. Constitution, an amended version of it, that is. It was going along according to plan when Representative Frank Pallone, a Democrat from New Jersey, began to read the, quote, natural-born citizen clause. That's the part that stipulates the president must be a natural-born citizen of the United States. A woman in the gallery chose that moment to interrupt. Take a look.
No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to be the office of president. Neither shall...
The chair would remind persons in the gallery, all persons in the gallery that they are here as guests of the House.
That was Representative Mike Simpson, Republican from Idaho, banged the gavel. The woman who shouted, and I quote, "Accept Obama," was escorted out and the reading continued. But it begs the question, was today's reading a civics lesson or political theater?
Joining us now from Fort Worth, Texas to help answer that question is Janine Turner. You know her as the star of Northern Exposure and Friday Night Lights, but she's also a Tea Party activist and co-founder of Constituting America. Its mission to promote understanding and respect for the Constitution. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, great to see y'all again.
Hey,
I have to ask a question. Did you hear the thunder today?
No. Where are you?
It was our founding fathers clapping from heaven that the Constitution was read on the House floor.
Oh, I'm sure they were thrilled. But how do you think they felt about that woman yelling about Obama, the birthers?
Janine, it makes me wonder if there was no thunder here in New York, what are they telling us?
Oh, no, it was the universal thunder.
All right,
no, American thunder.
All right.
In regard to the woman speaking out, here's what I have to say about that. First of all, I thought, Americans have a right to, freedom of speech. And when the presiding officer, banged his gavel and said, "We have rules," I mean, I thought the whole, to watch the House at work was spectacular. But also, this isn't about the president. This is about a over 200-year-old document, the United States Constitution. So whether someone said something about Obama today was inconsequential. This is about the United States Constitution that has lived for over 200 years, and that we are once again bringing this to the cultural forefront of Americans' minds.
But Janine, I mean, we all love the Constitution, and what you've done is wonderful in trying to, renew interest and all. But isn't this really kind of a political stunt? Come on.
No, I really don't think so. I think it's a beautiful, look, the Constitution has left the American conscience, and it's time to bring it back. And it was a symbolic sort of representation that the voice of America was heard. And, in 2010, there were some tribulations, and I think that there were some triumphs in the respect that the American people gathered together to say, look, we're not happy with the direction of the way the country's going, and we want it brought back to the fundamental principles. And that showed in how the Congress had this overturn. And the fact that they read the Constitution just shows that they're bringing us back to America's principles. And they listened to the genius of the people.
Janine, the Republicans now want every piece of legislation to explicitly state that it's constitutionally supportable. How does that work to you? I mean, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think it's a pause. It's a patriot's pause to really stop to think about, all right, is this bill constitutional? And I'd much rather have that than someone just disregarding the Constitution or not acknowledging the Constitution and just throwing something in the hopper and having it voted upon when it has no bearing and no relevancy to the foundation of principles of our country.
Well, so what laws do we currently have, in your mind, that do not pass constitutional muster?
Well, I think, generally any law that has given the government such a broad scope over the states and the American people, all these government, these federal mandates upon the states, all of them are out of bounds of the Constitution, most of them. And health care is one of them, of course. It's all up for interpretation. But as long as there is that interpretation, as long as people are looking at the document and then debating it, that's better than having no awareness of it at all. Do I look like an Italian?
Janine?
I'll just use my hands.
Janine, we have to stop here for just a minute and take a quick break. Don't move. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with TV star and constitutional activist Janine Turner. Janine, does it bother you that even before the Congress was sworn in, the Republican leadership said, oops, we didn't mean it, we're only going to cut 50? Does that bother you? Do you begin to see some backsliding here on perhaps the single most important pledge that the Tea Party was making?
I think there are a lot of people in Congress from both sides of the aisle that suddenly go, oops, I didn't really mean it. I mean, come on, let's pass the bill. Let's pass the bill and then find out what's in it. Oops, we didn't know that was in the health care bill. I mean, I think that happens on both sides of the aisle.
But it doesn't worry you that, even before they were able to start, they said, we only want to cut half of what we said we would cut?
Look, I'm glad those Tea Partiers are there. I'm glad that the voice of the American people has been heard. And actually today, I feel happy that at least Americans are standing up. You thinking I'm not answering your question? Look,
no, that's all right.
Just start cutting the deficit. That's all I care about. Start cutting it.
All right.
Whether politicians say things or don't say things, to me, it's just a great day that we have Look, the transition of speaker to speaker, from president to president, that our document is still at work, that it was read today on the House floor, I just think is beautiful.
All right, Janine Turner, we thank you for being with us, and the Founding Fathers thank you.
Oh, yay! Yay!
And we'll listen for that thunder.
From heaven.